showing bravery, Sabatic, but he's still hurt here.
Yeah, Svetanovic, but outclassed, outfought. He's going to have a good look at him. Right decision is a massive success.
Dante's Boxing Nation, what's going on, guys? So Josh Padley, a.k.a. the Electrician, which should be his official nickname, by the way, he just knocked out and defeated another undefeated fighter following his loss to Shakur Stevenson. If he keeps it up, people are going to start calling him the O-Snatcher because he keeps beating undefeated fighters. Here's a fun fact, by the way. 4 out of 5 of Josh Padley's last 5 opponents were undefeated. And one of those undefeated fighters was a highly touted prospect from the UK named Mark Chamberlain. Another one of those undefeated fighters is champion and one of the best fighters in the world, Shakur Stevenson. Speaking of Shakur Stevenson, he reacted to this news of Josh Padley getting his knockout win by celebrating it because obviously it makes his knockout win over Padley look even better. Matter of fact, Shakur, he put out this post. He said, "Yes, sir, my boy in his bag. Electrician showing y'all some skills." In this post, he was responding to somebody pointing out the double standards when it comes to Shakur. And Shakur, he said, "Facts. When it's used to hate on me, they salute it. That. I'm celebrating my boy Padley W. He just added another undefeated record on his resume." So for those of you guys who don't know the entire story, Shakur Stevenson was originally supposed to fight Floyd Schofield. Floyd Schofield ended up pulling out of the fight at the very last minute, the week of the fight, and Josh Padley, he stepped in. Now, while Padley did show a lot of heart in the fight against Shakur Stevenson, Shakur completely dominated him and then stopped him. Now, while Shakur Stevenson, he is showing Padley some love and congratulating on his win, that same respect was not really reciprocated by Josh Padley because after Josh got knocked out, he had the audacity to tell the public that Shakur Stevenson, he has no power, he can't punch. Despite the fact that Padley got knocked out by Shakur Stevenson and knocked down multiple times. And out of the 17 opponents that Padley has been in a ring with, no one has done that to Padley. So really, Padley, he was just trying to repeat race fan talking points, but it's harder to do that when you actually have got in the ring with Shakur and the whole world has seen the fight. It's easier to say crazy stuff like that when you're on the internet and you remain anonymous, right? If Shakur Stevenson had no power, boxers would be walking through him. They would show him zero respect, but that has not been the case. Every person who gets in the ring with Shakur Stevenson shows him an enormous amount of respect, including power punchers like Edwin Del Santos. It's ironic that when Shakur Stevenson doesn't get the knockout, he's criticized by old media. And then even when he does get the knockout, he's still criticized by old media and the rest of the race fans. You have race fans on the internet saying that Shakur was supposed to knock him out earlier. At the end of the day, we know what time it is. Only a black boxer can get criticized for knocking out an undefeated fighter who has beat undefeated prospects. And once again, this was a last-minute replacement for Shakur Stevenson because his original opponent pulled out of the fight. I'm going to keep telling you guys this. The reason why we see this type of criticism is because the standards are always set much higher when it comes to black American fighters because these race fans, they know how gifted, how talented, how dominant these black American boxers are and have been. So if you really think about it, old media and race fans, they're actually praising the black fighters indirectly. They feel deep down the majority of undefeated white fighters are not going to have a chance against an undefeated black fighter. And this is the reason why they're saying, yeah, Shakur, you beat him. You won every single round. You knocked him out. But you were supposed to knock him out in the first round. You were supposed to knock him out in the first 30 seconds. I mean, you already came into this fight with a major advantage. You're black. You was born knowing how to fight. You guys have the rhythm, the coordination, and the talent before you guys even walk into a boxing gym. So we're not going to give you credit for knocking some white guy out. You're black. You were supposed to do that. And this is pretty much the way the white commentators were talking as they were calling this fight from the opening bell. They kept saying it over and over and over again. Shakur has to do so much more to win this fight impressively. I was listening to the UK commentary, Sky Sports, and even though they're much better than DAZN, you could still clearly see how biased they were. You could still see and hear the old media agenda. The only difference is when Sky Sports calls the fights, they're blowing a dog whistle. But when DAZN is calling a fight, Ty Grisham, Chris Mannix, and Sergio Mora, they're blowing a bullhorn. It was funny because the main Sky Sports commentator, he kept saying, I want to see more razzle and dazzle from Shakur Stevenson. He kept using this term, and he only used this term for Shakur when it came to that whole card. And then once Shakur would really let his hands go and do something impressive, then he would say, now he's showing the razzle dazzle. But then he would say, this is not going to be an impressive win unless he knocks out Padley. And then soon as Shakur knocked out Padley, the commentators, they went completely silent, as if Shakur did something wrong. Let me give you guys another perfect example. Do you guys remember when Terrence Crawford beat Jeff Horn? Well, if you notice, the main people that were trying to discredit that win were white people and non-black people in general, right? Now, these same race fans, they praised Canelo for beating Caleb Smith, Caleb Plant, and Billy Joe Saunders. But once it came to Terrence Crawford versus Jeff Horn, that wasn't a real fight, etc., etc. The real funny thing is Jeff Horn had a way bigger win on his resume than Billy Joe Saunders, Smith, or Plant ever had. Because Jeff Horn, he beat Manny Pacquiao. And Manny Pacquiao turned down a rematch. Just like Teofimo Lopez turned down a rematch when he lost to George Kambosos, Manny Pacquiao did the exact same thing. Styles make fights, and Manny Pacquiao, he knew that that was a very difficult fight to win. And remember, after Manny Pacquiao lost to Jeff Horn, he beat Keith Thurman and Adrian Broner. And neither one of those fights was as close as the Jeff Horn fight was. So Jeff Horn beats Manny Pacquiao, and Terrence Crawford, he beats Jeff Horn. But I'm telling you guys, deep down in those race fans' hearts, they're saying, oh man, you beat a white guy, that doesn't count. This is also the reason why when a white guy or a non-black guy beats a black undefeated fighter, they're making statues for the winner, like they did for Tyson Fury. The same Deontay Wilder that old media had said was the worst heavyweight champion of all time, and that's what they were saying before he lost to Tyson Fury. But when Fury beat him, they treated him like he beat Muhammad Ali. And let's not forget Tyson Fury, he cheated in that fight, and he has also tested positive for PEDs, but he still got a statue. Because when they see a white fighter, or even a Mexican fighter, beat a black undefeated fighter, it doesn't even matter how good the black boxer is. They always look at it as David versus Goliath because they have so much hidden aspiration for the talents of the black American boxer. Now, with that being said, I'm going to leave you guys with one of the deepest, one of the most transparent clips you will ever hear on a microphone from someone who is not black. His name is Cameron Duncan. He was a boxing manager that passed away. And in this clip, he talks about the tutelage and the advice that he got from a top-ranked boxing matchmaker that helped him protect his boxers over the years. And what you're about to hear him say, this is how all of these race fans feel deep down, from Jim Lampley to Todd Grisham to Chris Mannix, Mike Coppinger, Sean Zattel, all the way down to the race fans that hide on the internet with fake profiles. Despite what they publicly say, this is how they really feel.
Ask Cameron Duncan, do Top Rank have like columns of fighters? And they say, we don't want this guy fighting the black fighter. We don't want this fighter fighting the Mexican fighter, and so on and so forth.
You're going to get into the racial stuff, huh?
No, I'm not. I'm asking.
That's a theory there by the greatest matchmaker, probably, in my opinion, ever.
Uh-huh.
And I'm not going to mention his name either, but you know what I'm talking about.
Uh-huh.
And he used to have a thing up on his board, NBF, no black fighters.
Uh-huh.
And when I was taught to bring up a fighter, you know, and again, it's just, he used to say to me, you can go anywhere in the country. And I'm going to leave it at this. I don't want to go into a long discussion because people are people in God's eyes, and we're all the same. He used to say to me, you can go anywhere into a city in America or anywhere in the world and ask a white guy, and he didn't say any other, he didn't say anything about Hispanic, anything. Ask a white guy to throw a jab, and half of them are going to turn backwards and throw it like a girl and everything. Ask any black man on a street corner in any city in the world, and they will snap out a jab in a heartbeat. And I used to laugh. He said, they're just more physically gifted. And he said, and so they have speed and better to stay away from them. Nothing personal. So I said, okay. And I've lived by that. And, you know, I don't want to sound like some weird guy, but, you know, you're trying to be safe with your guys. And so, yeah, there is a thing about that, you know, but not in a bad way, in a very respectful way, you know, to be careful. So that's all.
All right, now check this out, guys. If you're looking to repair eczema scars, burns and bruises, dark spots and blemishes, fever blisters, diabetic ulcers, this right here is the perfect product for you guys. It's called LO-DeKey Face and Body Oil. Athletes and top-ranking boxers, they're also using it after training to reduce swelling, inflammation, and to ease the pain. So get yours today. Go to LODekey.com, like them on Facebook, and follow them on Instagram. Let me tell you guys about Issa Israel Law Firm. It is a full-service legal practice based in Denver, Colorado, an emerging hub for combat sports and high-altitude training. If you're a fighter inside or outside of the ring and you need a law firm you can trust to fight for you, visit thefighterfirm.com or email help@iilawfirm.com. Legal representation is usually limited to plaintiffs or defendants in Colorado, but iFirm can help anyone in the world with trademarking their business name, logos, and U.S. immigration issues. This brother has been my attorney for a while and helped guide me through all kinds of business and civil issues, so make sure you guys go to thefighterfirm.com.